Hello, hello, beautiful people, mi gente bella. Welcome to another edition of Santana Says, where we talk about everything from Roblox to relationships, everything in between, and the overall journey of life. I am excited as always to bring you another edition of the show, but also another wonderful guest. And I am pumped because this is our not final father, because I don't want to say it like we just never gonna have dads ever again on the show or any other males, but in our series, we're just continuing with that great energy. And so I really appreciate that we're gonna delve into that today, talk about it. But we have another person that I know, near and dear to my heart that I've known for so long. But now I do want everyone else to get to know you a little bit better. And who are you? Why are you here? A little bit about your story. Who are you, sir?
Hello.
Hi.
June Colón, pleasure to meet you.
Say.
June Colón, Guayama, Puerto Rico represent, and Cleveland as well.
Lovely.
Been in Cleveland all my life pretty much,
Awesome.
helping the people, being part of every movement as possible. And
That's true.
here to support what you're doing because you support everybody that I care for. So
Yay. Well, I'm glad. But you even repping too. I see logo on the shirt.
Yeah,
What's that?
It's a last minute addition. So I started NTM Prep 5 years ago to diversify police and fire departments nationwide, in Cleveland as well, of course. But nationwide, we're just working on helping a little change within public safety, positive change.
Right.
But not just diversity, just having people that are just overall good candidates for public safety. So all genders, all backgrounds, cultures, everything like that. So.
Right. Okay, very good. Definitely needed. And what has it been like for you working in public safety?
Public safety has been challenging but fun.
Okay.
And rewarding.
Yep.
A lot of sacrifices going on. I've been a firefighter for 22, going on 23 years.
Jeez.
This October will be 23 years.
Wow.
I joined the department. Actually, the academy was just a couple blocks from here.
Okay.
Back in 2000, and I was 20 years old and close to retirement.
Right.
Still feeling good for the most part. So it's a milestone I'm ready to make.
Yeah.
And so everything's been good.
That's good though. Oh, but that's interesting to even hear that word. So retirement.
Yeah.
Life on the other side. Do you already have plans for what that's going to look like?
Plans, yeah. So right now I'm working with NTM Prep, but we also have a couple different branches off of NTM Prep to get people that I've helped get on police and fire departments, turn around and do the same that I'm doing and get them paid. So we're growing, we're multiplying out here and making sure we have good people out here taking care of our little ones that are out here. So
this is true. Absolutely. Yeah. What did draw you though did you always want to be a firefighter?
No,
20. You was young.
Yeah. It's strange. The neighborhood we grew up in was one of the busiest neighborhoods for public safety responses back in the 80s and 90s.
Yep.
Right when crack hit the streets and a lot of gang stuff and all types of fires and safety issues. I didn't know that. We didn't know that as a kid. That's just an environment we grew up in.
Exactly.
And when I was 18, 19 years old, my parents were debating on moving back to Puerto Rico. And I wanted to go with them, but it was like a slow pace in Puerto Rico. And I loved living in Cleveland.
Right.
And at that time, I was actually thinking about becoming a journalist. So the opportunity to become a firefighter just happened to pop up. And I saw the schedule, saw what I can do to help people. I was already a lifeguard prior to that and worked in hotels and stuff. So hospitality was something I was like already familiar with.
Right.
So it just seemed natural. I like to work out. So I was like, hey, let me try it out. Went to an information session. And from that point on, I just kept on working on it. So that's what I do with my clients. Just hold their hand and walk them through everything. So.
Oh, look at that. And speaking of that, so for anybody is that what you mean by so the clients, are these just anybody that's considering going into it? Like what all do you do to help them get prepared?
I can't give you all the bits and pieces.
Okay, yes.
the Colonel's recipe. No. Pretty much I help people understand what the job entails, then help them with the application process, the written, the physical, interview process, oral interviews, background checks, everything. And then help them during the academy, which so there's a lot of different hurdles throughout the whole process. It's not just recruitment, it's retention too.
Exactly.
So been working on 2.0, 3.0 over the years to try to make sure that every time I help a client, they have the best opportunity and a healthy career moving forward because this job is stressful. It's a lot of lost sleep. There's a lot of coffee, the cheat code coffee.
Yep.
But we always prioritize our mental health and physical health to balance out all that stuff because there are pros and cons to the career. But so I pretty much just try an organic approach to helping people understand what the job is about and how to navigate through it. So.
Excellent. I agree. Well, and then, and I'm glad that that's here because as you were describing, I mean, that's the point that there's a lot. So it's definitely not the easiest job to just be like, you know, I'm glad you saw it and saw an opportunity with it and, you know, got into it. But it's clearly a lot I'm hearing to even secure it and then also to keep it. So apparently it's not just this easy, you know, thing to do. So
Getting your foot in the door is one thing, but staying in is the other, because once you pass those hurdles of getting accepted and hired by the departments, you still have to go through the academy, which is grueling and tough. But when you have a support system, your family, other people that have been through it, then, you know, they can do it. So
yeah, absolutely. And did you, so like, I know, and I heard you say that you're helping especially to diversify it. So I mean, did you get to see a lot of people that look like you coming into it?
Coming to the department, we had, it doesn't reflect the city, of course. But I've had a lot of people that helped me throughout the years. The Vanguards of Cleveland, the Black Professional Firefighters of Cleveland, organization I'm part of. They were some of the main mentors that I had getting on the job. They were some of the main ones that volunteered to do recruitment, which recruitment at that time and moving forward was perceived as minority recruitment, but it was actually just recruitment of the city, which just happened to be mostly people of color. So I saw that, and then I saw different ways to, once I became part of the recruitment team years later, how to change and tweak certain things. And instead of asking the city to do certain things that I felt were necessary, I just started my own business. So, and it goes hand in hand with what the city does, what the public safety recruitment team does. They have great people that do it as well. But I just do it unfiltered and in my own way. So
exactly the way you want. Keep it unique.
Right.
Love that. And that too. Did you always have this little entrepreneurial, you know what I'm saying, spirit?
No, I've always had people that have always reached out to me. They were like, you know, how do I do this? How do I do that? And after like hundreds of calls over the years, I'm like, you know, like this is right in my lap. Like I was thinking of other things I could do. I used to love traveling. I still do love to travel, you know me.
Oh yeah.
I was like, you know, what can I do for additional money, but it's part of my passion, and it was easy. Because I love being a firefighter, but I like helping people like with their legacy and their family legacy and moving forward and stuff like that. So I just feel like as a firefighter, we can only do so much to help the community. And you know, my parents, like they've been part of things over the years that I just felt like maybe we could do this a little bit different. So.
Oh, absolutely. But speaking of that, because everybody else don't necessarily know your parents, the little legacies and all that. But who are your parents and like what kind of things did they instill in you?
So my parents, my mom was raised in Queensbridge, New York. Then years later moved to Puerto Rico. Met my dad, who was raised in Puerto Rico. He was in the Army, Marines, went to college, and they both became activists within the community. My dad worked in City Hall for Voinovich, Mayor Voinovich, Mayor White. And he retired right before Mayor Campbell came in. But he also has been active throughout the community for 30, 40 years at least.
Wow,
My mom worked in housing, Cleveland Tenants Organization, which was right around the corner from here. She helped with tenants that were being discriminated against. I used to go with her on different calls for different issues with tenants and stuff. Then she worked Cleveland Housing Court. Then she started the interpretation unit down at Justice Center. And they just been active throughout the community, helping everybody. So underserved people, and not just Hispanic, but just a lot of different communities.
In general.
Pretty much.
Did that make you though? Like, so did you always feel like you were civically engaged, or did it like?
No, I was always bored.
Not figure. I was like, I wonder, did it really like click from the beginning?
Just like we drag our kids to these, you know, boring meetings, and they sit around. You pick up little things here and there, and then years later, you're like, man, like I heard that same conversation 20 years ago. It didn't do anything for our neighborhoods. I think I have a better idea. So not to say that I'm smarter than anybody, but I've been involved in this for 40 years. I'm 43. So literally since I was a kid, I'm like, man, I've seen this over and over on replay, and it's not changing anything. We still have crime out here. We still have drama, a lot of negative things going on. Like, what can we do to help out? So since I was already a firefighter, I'm like, what can I do to make a change? So.
And do you see yourself like still, so now that you see it from that different perspective and now you are more, you know, able to draw from what it is that you learned, but even though you might not have necessarily appreciated it at the time and all that, do you find yourself now drawing from what it is that your parents have, or do you now have debates with them about different things, or like, you know,
I could see where somebody could have different views from their parents, but in my case, I see a lot of why they did what they did, and more so now than back then, of course.
Right.
But like my parents were always for the people, so like even to this day, like after hurricanes and everything, they were always for the people before themselves.
Right.
The only thing I would say that I did different was make sure I maintain my own mental health, because sometimes you could be taking care of all these people, but you know, your house is a mess, your backyard's a mess, you know, your paperwork is all messy, and it's like, you know, why am I helping so many people when I need to take care of myself too? So that's the only thing I would say I did different.
Right.
So that's why I went the LLC way instead of the nonprofit way with my business, because instead of having my hand out and depending on others, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna grind and keep forward.
I hear that.
Thinking along with my business and my full-time gigs. So
absolutely. But I definitely think that's an excellent point, because I do think that there are a lot of people who, unfortunately, who want to help other people, who like, and actually that's kind of why they do it too. Like, we see a lot of, you know, we see elements that are in other people from ourselves, you know what I mean? And we want to help for different reasons. But yes, there are some people who are notorious for helping others, and like, and it helps them to not deal with their own issues. You know what I'm saying? So it also provides this perfect excuse or distraction from it. But it also could be because they are trying to escape it, or like it helps like, to put the energy in that instead of, you know, at home. And I also think it was interesting, this distinction between LLC and, you know, nonprofit, because nonprofits also have their advantages. You know, they get grants, you know what I mean? Like, there's a lot there. So like, you know, if you were ever considering, you know what I mean, starting.
I'm not knocking nonprofits
exactly.
at all.
Like, they don't. Right. But there are elements, you know, that are helpful to LLC as well, like to know that. And it's just good for you to know, like, which route and like what's going to be more beneficial to you. Because yes, on the entrepreneurial side, definitely you'll want that. And like tax wise, it's going to help.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? To know the differences between the two, and like
do your homework. Do your homework on all of it, because there's pros and cons to everything we do.
Yep.
And you got to weigh it out to see what's best for you.
Absolutely.
I'll definitely looking to start a nonprofit in the future. But for the NTM prep stuff, I was like, you know what? I don't want to answer to anybody. I don't want to have to explain myself to anyone. I'm just going to go ahead and do the work. Right. And then hopefully it makes a change. So
absolutely. And I love that. So that's what's good to know, right? Is that if you truly want to be independent, you know what I mean, and be able to like do things independently, then that's one way to do it.
Yeah,
you know
I'm like a rapper.
Are you?
Except I can't flow. So
but you do your own thing.
Right.
Definitely that. And you mentioned though that you actually support like a lot of different movements, like you said. Now you are, and I do see you like helping a lot of different people and with those a lot of different things. And so like, what have been some of the projects and things that you've been taking on? Like, what makes you continue? You know what I mean? And how have you been?
Well, these past couple of years, I've been putting more time with my son. I haven't been a part of organizations, but it's kind of frustrating because now I see, like, I think you're a few years younger than me, a bunch of years younger. So a couple of years,
yeah.
But I love the passion and movements within, like you just interviewed Manny the other day.
Oh, yes.
And him, the New Era Young Lords, and some other groups that I'm a part of. I'm associated and a part of a lot of groups, but I'm not as active because I'm putting more time into my son. Yeah. Whereas in the past, I would literally, since he was born up until a few years ago, dragging him from one meeting to the other, and then being frustrated when certain things weren't going the way that I wanted to in my life. So I had to regroup, decide what to put my energy into. Oh yeah. Who to support, who I had to like step back away from, even though there are good people out here. Like I just can't do everything. You know, there's all these little fires out here. No pun intended.
Yeah, right.
But I can't help it all. You know, I got to take care of myself too, and then my growing family as well. So.
Oh, absolutely. See, and that's a big thing to accept and to like come to terms with, is that like even with our best intentions and wanting to help, we can't be everywhere all the time, and we can't be everything for everyone. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't want our own worlds to crumple in the process. And then it's funny because then that means ironically you were doing with your son what like had been done to you as a kid, like going on to all the mans. Here we go. And like being that kid. So here we were. And did you get feedback from him? Like, did he let you know like that there were some that he did actually enjoy and all that?
My son?
Yeah. Did he actually tell you, or like you just saw it?
He likes to see, I think after a couple of years, he likes to see that some things that we were talking about, like let's say play ball over at League Park. Yep. We went to meetings after meetings for years. I'm no longer involved with it, but I still stay in touch with people that are part of it. Right. And Julia de Burgos Cultural Arts Center, like we're always in and out of the building, supporting anything that the director, Leticia Lopez, does. Oh, yeah. So like we still support people that we used to meet with all the time. Right. But we just do it here and there, and not as often as before, like where it was almost like a full-time job
Yeah,
with our
I bet.
hours. But yeah, he's giving me feedback. Yeah, some of it I could talk about, and other stuff I just, we were just doing something with CMSD yesterday. I have a summer camp that we're doing at Natividad Pagan High School,
Okay.
and we're helping the youth between the 5th grade to the 9th grade with physical fitness and mentorship and stuff like that.
Right.
And he's getting to learn people different languages, because some of the people speak Swahili, and others are from different backgrounds in the Middle East.
Right.
So he's like in that part, and then he's like giving me advice of, okay, maybe next time you could do this, because I saw that he's like always observing the kids, and he's like, I saw some of the kids didn't really like that workout. Maybe you could do this instead. It's more fun. So he does give me feedback. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. See, that's what I love too about having, kids in our life, to be able to,
Definitely.
and like, are you seeing him like with certain issues too? Like, are you seeing him also like gravitate towards things that he's now finding his own interest in as well?
Yeah. So thanks to you, he's a young chef.
Oh, hey.
Yeah. So I like to cook, but once I put him into a program that had, different chefs in it
Right.
for youngsters, he gravitated towards that.
Oh, nice.
And we do some little workouts here and there with at our gym and stuff like that. He's starting to create his own niche of stuff, and he definitely has his own opinion on things. So, which is great to see.
Yeah.
It's just trying to balance out, having your own personality and your own opinion, and making sure that it goes well with the way we're trying to raise them up, because we want them to be independent, but they're still little.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and then that's true. And that's, I keep reminding myself that I think that's kind of been like this constant thing of reminding myself when to like help breed that independence, but then remember that they are still being raised though. So yes, you are supposed to still cultivate and like help them realize how to do it. Otherwise, they won't figure it out. You know what I mean? So you still have to have those parameters in place and all that. But yeah, it's still been a tricky balance. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I ain't got it figured out. You know what I mean?
There's no book on it.
No, trial and error.
No blueprint.
Yeah. And sometimes I think I killed it. I'm like, oh yeah, that was a great day.
Your kids are great.
I mean, I appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? I think they're awesome kids, but it's funny because I'm like, but I still have to adjust like all the time. And then there's some days where I'm like, wow, like I didn't realize that that's what you needed. You know what I mean? If I would have just, and I think that's what I think is commendable on your part. And actually, you reminded me of who the board goes. I forgot that was another thing.
Oh,
so weren't you like board member?
I was a board member for a few years, chairman of the board. The year that we brought the festival over to Voinovich Park.
Okay.
Which was probably my favorite year over the years.
Wow.
My dad was actually involved with the committee for 30 years at least, since the 80s, when it used to be on West 25th behind the West Side Market.
Okay.
So I remember going then. So I'm pretty much doing the same stuff that my dad did with me.
Yeah.
And Julio de Burgos does, now that they have their own home that they could call home, over off of Archmere. Or is it Archwood?
I think it's Archwood.
Archwood. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm thinking of Larchmere on the east side.
Yep.
Shaker. But they're doing so many great things over there, and it's just great to see like how all these movements are happening. La Via Hispana is coming through.
Yes.
So it's great to see.
Right.
I wish I was more involved, because I've been asked to be part of certain boards and groups and stuff, but I just had to like step back and say, I can't do it. I'm sorry. Like maybe in the future, once I'm settled with what I'm doing with my business and some other things, because I'm trying to create multiple streams out here for that financial freedom. But after that said, I come back and everything I've learned, help people out. And hopefully they're still around, which I'm sure they'll still be around. So.
Exactly, and still be a staple. Yeah. Well, and then agreeably, because yes, we definitely got to learn, when to say no to certain things, and like we were saying, with the boundaries and being able to help with that too. But you're right, like, and for those who don't know, yes, Julio Burgos is this dope cultural arts center here in Cleveland. You know what I mean? So it is really great, like thing that we have. But like, wow, so you've actually seen it from all that evolution, because you're reminding me of some stuff that I seen as a kid, like, and seeing that grow. And it's true, it was a big deal for them to finally have a space that was theirs.
Definitely.
I don't think people knew that, but the places they were in were actually not their own.
Yeah, they were shared spaces.
Yeah, with other people actually. And so like they were doing such amazing things that not everybody was aware of that.
Oh yeah.
But like it was great for them to finally, be able to have that. So now that impact can grow more, what I mean? Because now they have something that's theirs. But like, and with that, so speaking of being like acts, with that one, like when you all these different opportunities, like board member, all that, are these things that people were pursuing you for? Or did you seek them out? Or like, how did all that?
Right now, lately, they've been pursuing me because, not to sound like that, but
yeah, of course.
Because there's been other opportunities that weren't available before.
Got you.
In
Okay.
in the past, I was already involved with some things,
Yep.
and I withdrew just because of frustration, time,
Yeah, man.
energy.
Yep.
But it's great to see that some of the things that I was a part of
Right.
still kept rolling, moving, and
Mm-hmm.
evolved. Just like you say, Julia de Burgos,
Yeah.
they had a shared space for 3 different locations over like the past 10 years.
Right.
And we were sometimes whole meetings, and one of the buildings off of Detroit, they would literally be, there was a play that was practiced, and the backstage is where we would have our meetings.
Right.
So you'll have
Oh,
people like pop up in the middle of our meetings,
oh
dressed,
no.
dressed
Right.
in like different kinds of
Yeah.
costumes, and then jump back out there, and then we're still carry on with what we have to do.
Right. Still trying to make it
But
work.
it was a lot of undocumented great things that happen over there because with the volunteer services, you
Yep.
get what you pay for. So sometimes, and I'm part of that too. Like sometimes I'll commit to something and I couldn't fully do it
Yep.
because I'm volunteering for one thing, but I have other responsibilities.
Right.
So like it was a great experience overall.
Yeah.
It still is. Like now they have like a lot of consistent programming and more things to do at that center.
Right.
And I'm happy for the people that stuck around, especially the director,
Oh yeah.
Letitia. Like,
Oh, Letitia, man,
yeah,
what? Letitia had been around forever.
Yeah.
Yes, we need her to stay. Well, and it's great to have people like that who genuinely care too, and like
Definitely.
help the vision move forward because well, first of all, they've seen it, from like the beginning, but they don't mind putting in that extra effort. But I also shout out to Letitia too because I know that she's also been one that will run herself ragged.
Yeah.
She's been doing better, because she has more help and all that now. But like that's what's hard,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like people who just blood, sweat, and tears, that go into all these projects, and so it's a lot. And for a while, I know that she didn't always, have that. Like it was just kind of like,
we're carrying a lot of our shoulders.
Yeah, pretty
and
much.
Hopefully, we can get other people to help us out so that we can
yes,
spread the weight. Because in a lot of committees that I was a part of, there'll be a lot of people in the group,
right,
but only a handful that will actually do the work. And that goes for all committees. Like firefighters,
yep,
cultural arts centers,
Yep.
etc.
exactly.
It could have 200 members, but literally be the same 5 people doing everything. So it's great to see that these groups are growing and,
Yep.
and they're passing on the leadership to other people and they're understanding it. You still need the older heads to mentor and teach the younger ones. And they both bring their own perspective, and
Correct.
it's been great to see.
Exactly, and have that meld.
Yeah.
But I agree with that. So like, and I appreciate that we were saying about like, so with these opportunities, I think that's the cool thing about it though. Also part of that evolution is that, so there were some that you know what I'm saying, essentially became a part of,
Right.
you were just aligned with them and you liked them,
Right.
but then it actually helped lead to now where now people are finding you. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Because
definitely.
they now know what it is, also what knowledge base you have and like
Right.
what you bring. So like people can find you. And I think that's something good for people to figure out too for yourselves is like, there may be different things that you might be considering and like that's gonna set you up later, for these different opportunities, like being able to know what does align with what you're looking for.
Yeah, I'm open to a lot.
Yeah.
I'm glad I'm at a position where I could turn down things
Right.
or put them to the side and think about it for the future, or maybe collaborate with the same people on something else. So
exactly.
fortunate, real
Yeah, to
fortunate.
be in
and
that
I
place.
have a great partner. You know Shakira. She's been a huge blessing to our family. So like to have somebody there that could support you through certain things that were tough on your own,
Right.
that makes a huge difference too, to get over that hump and even further. So
Absolutely. And yes, I'm glad you brought her up because if not, I was going to bring her up too. Shout out. Because now I know you didn't always have, such a tremendous person in your life. But I think it's dope. Yes, I think you all are a great team. But even that, like, how is it? And then, and like you said, like, tremendous addition to your family because I do know that you had already had your son, when you met her. So, like, what was that even? I don't even know how you met her, honestly. I don't even know that story, actually.
Our story is actually pretty cool. Years ago, I was at Martin Luther King Library over off of Chester and Stokes, I believe. And I was there because there was ongoing conversation in the community about body cameras. And I was adamant about because I was a victim of police brutality and police issues for years before I was a firefighter and during being a firefighter. So that was another reason why I started my business on the police end.
Okay.
So I overheard her. I was talking to somebody, and mind you, I've been to like a million of these meetings and things, community stuff, but they're usually talking about the same stuff and it ends nowhere.
Yep.
So I'm talking to somebody one-on-one. I hear in my ear somebody say something that resonated, and I'm like, yeah. and I hear something else, and I'm like, yeah, what she said. I'm like, who is this? Like,
No, you're
finally
fine.
somebody speaking, and, you know.
Yeah, the way I feel.
So I looked over, and I'm like, oh, yeah, she's pretty. That's not what I really thought, but I was like, she's pretty. So I didn't get a chance to meet her then because
Right.
I had to go to another event. I'm always on the go,
Yep.
as you know, scheduling this.
Yes. Yes.
So years later, we worked on a campaign trying to get the first Hispanic female councilwoman into Cleveland, and I was part of the campaign as well. And then we worked on the campaign together. So during the campaign trail, over time, we would meet and discuss things. And then after the campaign finished and the person we were supporting won, when I started thinking about doing my own business, I knew that she was involved in a lot of police activity changes, but just police reform.
Yes.
Nationwide,
Absolutely.
not just in Cleveland. She was part of the ACLU, and she does a lot of trauma recovery,
Right.
lobbying throughout the nation. So I would talk to her about certain things in an organic approach to changing the police system from within and from outside.
Oh, yes.
And I was attracted to her, but I kept it, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We gonna
kept
keep it professional. Yeah. You know.
But she didn't know. I thought she was just attractive and all that. Then years later, during COVID, I reached out to a friend of mine that happened to date her friend. And I was like, put me on, you know.
Give me.
So,
Hook me up.
she thought it was a joke. And our first date, like, we really don't even know when we started dating, because our first date, she thought it was just one of those continued, like,
Oh, yeah. This business
sessions.
meetings. Yeah.
Yeah. So
We gonna talk about a
our
topic.
second and third date was our official first date, and
that's
we've been
funny.
dating since, and it's been 3 years, so it's been great.
Wow, come on.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Right, exactly. But it is cool though too, because like with that means that like that was like a marriage of the minds, you know,
Yeah.
essentially too. You know what I mean? And then like to actually, because that's the dream right there. Because you know,
Yeah.
as a person who's single, I would hope that eventually my future partner will have that. You know what I'm saying? That we gonna collaborate on those kind of issues. Because if not, I mean, it's just kind of hard though, because I also feel like without that, it's gonna be hard for that person to appreciate all the stuff you do, Mr. On the go.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And they gonna
Definitely.
see that as like, okay, but then why don't you go do this? Because they don't understand like the importance of it.
Right. Because she's a great mother herself. She
Yep.
has a teenager herself, and I saw how she interacted with my son when I had to do things within that committee.
Right.
And then I saw how committed she was. Like, her
Yes.
life was is dedicated to her daughter. So that's pretty much the same approach I had.
Right.
And she grew up on the west side of Cleveland, but she went to school at East High, which is right around the block from where I grew up at.
Oh, yeah.
So it's strange that we never met all these years.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
We know a lot of the same people.
Yeah, same circles.
Yeah. And
But
especially
somehow,
some way, we're always missing each other in a touch supper club and different things.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, different place. But it's also interesting that when y'all did meet up, obviously good time in there. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
For y'all to like, and be in a place to appreciate one another. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
And to be able to do that. Because I also know that I've probably come across some great potential people, but I wasn't necessarily in the headspace to take that on.
Yeah, it's
If I'm
about
gonna be
timing.
honest. Yeah,
Yeah,
I ain't gonna lie. Yeah, like sometimes we need that. And so like to be able to do that and then, be able to commit.
Right.
But I think what's cool about what you just said is that shout out to the fact that she also has, a teenage daughter and
Right.
all that, and was already a great parent. That's been the interesting thing. We had a dope dad who, he had met someone that already had a kid and then had a child with her.
Nice.
We have like Manny who already has his kids. He been with
Great
his
father.
girl,
Yeah.
and he's been with his, significant other for like forever. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? He told me, I think that was 20 years or something like
Yeah.
that. They've been together, all this
Forever.
time. Yes, have had all these great kids together and all that. But you all represent like the blend situation.
Yeah.
So she already had a child, you had a child,
Right.
and then how did that even go? Like, did that?
It went well. It's going well. There's a 10-year difference in age between them,
Okay.
but we're childish at the house.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. So y'all just gonna have fun.
we all have fun,
Yeah.
We do our serious talks about certain things. They're serious, and then other things we're just silly.
Right.
Other people don't even know that how childish we are.
Yeah.
Even playing video games just last night,
Right.
late last night, a lot later than we should have been playing. Like,
You're right.
so
But have a good time.
Yeah, we help each other out. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then his big sister is like
Right.
a great sister to him. So
That's awesome.
it takes a village,
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's been a great experience so far, and I wish we had more kids, but at this phase of my life, I'm like,
Probably not.
yeah, my
Aw.
sleep is already bad, so I'm like,
Not
if I
trying
could,
to.
I'd have 5 more easily, but yeah, not
Yeah,
anymore.
but you are with someone that you would like to.
Oh man, I would
Yeah.
love to. If I could, 5 easily.
Yeah. Okay. Wouldn't
Easily.
mind.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Back to back. Let's run.
We're gonna do that. There you go. But I love that. And I love that, yes, because if y'all already doing all this like work, all this, if you're very civically engaged, clearly, you know what I'm saying? A lot of advocacy in there and a lot of work. That is hard work though. You know what I'm saying? It's not easy to do. And you're telling me that you're doing that on top of the business, you know what I mean? On top of all these other things that you're doing. So yeah, I mean, I think that you have a partner who understands that, who also has, you know, their own projects, but then also can, like, you can release with, is what I'm also hearing. So like, that's dope. I mean, I would love for you to, you know, for that.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's all I'm gonna say is great.
Yeah, definitely. But I think that that's what's good too, right? Is that we, you know, and even if we don't have that necessarily with a partner yet, you know what I mean? I mean, maybe that might be something, but just that we find those chances to release too, because yes, it is heavy work to do. So just finding like times and opportunities. And yes, if video games is your thing, go ahead and turn that TV on. You know what I'm saying? Like,
well, something that just came to my mind as far as timing.
Yes.
You know, you're still young and capable and doing your great thing. That person's gonna come along when they come along.
There you go.
It took till I was 40 to experience that, you know.
Right.
So timing is everything, because you could be with the right person at the wrong time and vice versa. So
True.
you don't want to put your energy into the wrong person while you're especially while you're creating this movement that you're creating, and putting your energy into the most important people, which are your children. So
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, when that person comes along and they're the right person, it's gonna feel right. So their match is out there, you know.
Oh, hey. All right.
Yeah.
Yes, and all my other fellow single people, you heard. We have hope, y'all. We just gotta wait. Hang tight. It's coming.
It takes time.
Yes. But that's good. No, it's definitely good to hear, and agreed. I do think that, like, definitely seeing, like, in your case, it was kind of like, wow, well, good. If it's out there and it's gonna be that caliber, I could wait, I could wait. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
keep working on what you're doing.
Yeah. But I do agree with that. I do think that, like, and that's what was great. I appreciate about, like, many people that have come on, including yourself. And you know, and even like I think Ricardo had mentioned it too. He actually found his passion during the time. Well, actually, he mentioned an interesting thing about like finding passion after a breakup, which was interesting. But in general, being able to like use your single time like productively and not feeling like you got to just wait on the next relationship. No, there's so much you can do now.
Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. Like before that. And then that person will align. I also think the good thing is that person can see you shining, you know what I mean? And in your elements. And like, that's a good thing to do, you know what I mean? And be able to like set that up and make sure that that happens. But agreed, I definitely think that they will all come. But definitely speaking of like, you know, being a dope dad, you know what I mean? And balancing all this, and you have said it more than once that like, at the end of the day, I'm learning that that's my priority. You know what I'm saying? Son come first, you know what I mean? And you're with someone that also can appreciate that because her daughter comes first, you know what I mean? And so y'all both can appreciate that. But what has it been like, just the overall journey of being a dad? You know what I mean?
Being a dad, it's a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah, I bet.
A lot of lost sleep. Between being a firefighter and
and also
dad.
being
Like I became an insomniac the first couple of years.
Okay.
Seriously, not after 20 years of being a firefighter, but in the first 3 years of being a father, taking care of my son on my own because I'm not with his mother. So literally from the second to third month, roughly, I was watching him, and he would eat every 2 hours, you know, overnight and everything. So I would go from a 24-hour shift on duty at a busy station to 48 hours with him, and it's just me and him. My parents live in Puerto Rico. Oh no, actually they live here for a short period of time.
Right.
But having my son, just me and him for the most part, and then going back to the 24-hour shift.
Right.
So I went from somebody that didn't drink coffee to somebody that, you know,
yeah,
dependent on it. And then I had to like put him first, which was, you know, I would always do that. But I had to make sure that after a while I could take care of myself so that we both could be doing well. Like I tell something that me and my partner, we talk about is putting ourselves first a lot of times, because even though we want to put their children first, just like when you're on a plane going somewhere, they tell you when the masks come down, you know, you put it on yourself before your child, because what use are you to them if you're not doing well? So I have to remind her sometimes, like, they're gonna be all right. They don't need this, they don't need that. You know, don't wear yourself thin. Taking care of the children, you know, take care of you first.
Absolutely.
But they do need us as well. So they need us at our best, you know, and vibrant. So it's a lot of sacrifice. It really is. It's something that if I could talk to every young man out there, it's something that's real rewarding.
Right.
But you got to understand, they need you more and more as time goes on, and you have to be your best.
Yep.
So if you're not ready to be a father, then do whatever you can to make sure you put that to the side, take care of yourself, be responsible out here.
Right.
And then when you're ready to be a father, understand that that's going to be your number one job, because nothing else matters after that.
That is true. So, absolutely. Wise words. And I mean, yeah, definitely something to consider, because it is. I mean, it's a huge commitment. If anything like that, this is one of the largest ones ever, you know, and that's the interesting thing about what you share, because that's even a joke that we have made outside. They are getting older. You know what I mean? They are not stopping for anyone, y'all.
They are. They're getting older, not us.
You're right, pretty much. That's how we gonna take it. But like even that, have you seen the conversations? Like, are they starting to change? Like, what have you noticed about like, you know, life now as your child is getting older?
So we haven't had the deep conversations yet.
Okay.
But I do sometimes plant a seed here and there, and also see what he's like, gauge his mind on certain things, or just ask him, open-ended questions.
Yep.
I allow for a lot of critical thinking with him. So like, how does that make you feel? Luckily with Shakira, she got this book about something about feelings. And
there we go.
helping him understand his feelings and, why do we feel that way? So I'll have him read 10, 15 pages, do the work on his own, and then I'll review it and ask him, what did you learn? What can we do in the future?
Yes.
Because they are still kids, they're still learning. Shakira always reminds me that, the brain doesn't fully develop to the mid or late 20s or something.
Right.
So even though he makes some great judgment decisions at certain times, he's not going to always, be consistent with it. And coming from, like, my father was in military, I'm in paramilitary fire department, like sometimes it's hard to like switch modes and think, okay, just care about this person, not consider it as like, as ABC, get these things done. So that's probably the biggest challenge, really. Like, switching from 24 hours on duty where everything's military, like paramilitary, to, okay, let me just care about this person. Let me consider their feelings before everything, even though there might be a time where they're right or wrong. How can they learn from this, grow from it, etc.
And that's definitely I really appreciate that, because I don't think that's something I had considered, but that's, I think, the only thing that is hard about having jobs like that, because that's true, you don't get taught that. So like, it's not surprising then that having all these feeling conversations, which you would think are easy to, they're not easy to have.
No,
like not for people that ain't got that kind of background. Like, what is this? We're talking about feelings now and identifying our emotions. Like, what is that? So it's like, and
every generation before us, they put that away more and more, from our parents, and especially their parents. So we're standing on their shoulders. We know a little bit more, just like our kids are standing on our shoulders. They're going to know a little bit more. So it's great to see that they're understanding some things. They're in this information age, but there's a lot of misinformation. So we're just trying to guide them the right way and understanding certain things. So
absolutely.
It's fun.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's true. I mean, because like I said, it does. It opens up this whole new world. And I mean, sometimes I find myself, obviously, during the middle of a conversation with my kid being like, well, dang, let me, how do I actually feel? You know what I mean? Let me check in real quick, too, because I was doing that. And the tool that I recently had to use with my oldest was the control wheel, because she was like talking a lot about things that were stressing her out, which was interesting for me, because I was like, you're talking about a lot of things that are outside of your control. And so, I had to bust it out. I got you. I'm going to send it to you.
Literally on the way here, where are we going to go? How long is the interview?
All these.
Who's going to be there? Does she own the building? And that's it. Literally every day. And it's like,
oh my gosh, she asked me a whole bunch of questions.
You need to relax, man. Just relax. You can't control everything around you.
Right? Isn't it crazy how much they're in their heads? I'm like, wow, I don't even, and maybe I do think I was a very internal kid too, but I don't remember like worrying so much about everything. Like, I don't know. And I'm just like, wow, why do they like bring all this weight on them?
And that makes you think, is there anything that's happened in the past to make them feel that way?
Correct.
Or bullying, or somebody just made them feel uncomfortable. Or just the fact that they like to know, because they're just, their minds are functioning in a different way. So I'm hoping we don't bring any trauma to them when it comes to that.
I know, it's hard. For real. Because that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm telling you, I really wish I had a bubble sometimes. But then I'm like, crap, that don't help either. You know what I mean? They got to get exposed. I mean, I can't protect them from everything. But at the same time, I just want to, and that's why I'm thinking we just going to have to do the tools. You know what I mean? At least give them the tools so that when these difficulties arise, they know what to do with it. But yes, I will definitely pass on the control, because it worked for us. Like, so I had just used it in a different avenue, like the control wheel. That's why it was on my mind. And with her, she liked it, because what it was, so we talked about like what are the things that are within her control, what aren't, and then she actually like put in there, which ones are within her control, and she like saw it visually. So then I feel like it kind of was like a good reference tool. And that's what I'm saying. Like, y'all, sometimes
I need that.
I
we
really
do need that.
Cool, and we gonna do it. And then it was good, like review for me too, because I was like, some things just, because I'm like, if I didn't do that, like especially like to my oldest Ilana, like I was like, if I don't do that, like then I'm gonna drive myself crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like always, let's go.
I catch myself taking a couple of deep breaths every day
Yes.
because I don't want to have the wrong reaction.
Right.
But that helps too. The deep
Yeah.
breaths.
Yes, yes,
You
they
know,
do.
and that's what I'm trying to pretty much do what I'm teaching them. You know, I
Yes,
don't want to
practice
be
what I preach.
hypocritical
Yeah, man.
or one way about it. I'm like, you know what? I can learn from this too. You
Yeah,
know, so
that
while
part.
he's learning something, I'm like, let me learn something too.
Yeah, exactly. But I do love that. You
Yeah.
were, you know what I'm saying? And the fact that, you know, and shout out to your partner for also
Yeah.
giving you, you know
Oh,
what I'm saying,
yeah.
resources and all that. But like you guys, the activists, the workers, the ones that are out here doing that also understand that, yeah, because you said it from the beginning. You were like, the only thing that I did differently too, or one of the other priorities I made sure was different for myself is the mental health.
Yeah.
So you cannot be like this grinder, you know what I'm saying, without taking care of that part. Like they have to go hand in hand.
They do.
And so that's why I like love that, you know, even on here, we get to have conversations about that like it's dope. We need to have that. Acknowledge our histories, you know, proud Puerto Rican, you know what I mean? Like doing all this work.
Oh,
and
that's
like,
a whole other.
oh, yeah, yeah. I
thing.
know. And that's what I was going to say too, that like,
Especially being like Afro Puerto Rican.
hello.
You know, we got our own. Yeah.
well, and then the fact that, you know, and of course I don't want you to feel like you have to like revisit that
Yeah.
with the police brutality and all that.
Yeah.
But I did want to say that like, I know everybody can't see this. Some people, you know, only listen into the audio, but you are a fairer skin. You know what I'm saying? You ain't like necessarily like the darkest Puerto Rican,
Yeah.
right?
Summertime, I get.
Yeah. Okay, my
it's
bad.
different.
You know, my bad. Yeah,
Nah,
exactly.
Well, my mom, she's like more of like the Spaniard, you know,
Yes, that
whitish,
part.
and
Like my
my dad
mom.
is like more of the Indian dark brown.
There you go.
So
Yep.
wintertime and summertime, two different
Oh,
complexions.
it is. Yeah. And that's a
And
difference.
then I grew up on the east side, so like a lot of the police didn't look like me. And
Well, and that's what I find interesting is that you were a victim of police brutality, and
4
then
times
nobody
at least.
see. And the thing is, like, the people didn't come up to you and was like, "Oh, you know what? You get a pass. You Puerto Rican. You get,
Right,
you know what I'm saying?
right.
You don't get
Yeah,
that. Like, you still found yourself victimized.
And I don't straddle the fence either.
Yeah, see?
Right is right, wrong is wrong. So
Exactly. So at the end of the day, right. So I just think like, and that's why we need to, you know, band together and realize the importance of these issues, and that's why we can't shy away from them, because it's happening to all of us, y'all.
Yeah.
And they're not like, you know, sugarcoating, and they're not cherry picking, you know, who they do it against. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, none of us are exempt from this, and none of us should be exempt from this conversation. You know what I mean? Like, that's why we're trying to do this, and that's why people are putting forth all these efforts. But again, in the process, we got to take care of ourselves so that we can help others and our kids. Because them babies,
especially for them.
yeah, they're looking up for sure. And have you found that in the how's the summer camp, like you said?
Summer camps are going good. They're these kids are amazing actually.
I bet,
They're
yeah.
between 5th to 8th grade in one camp, and then 5th to 9th or 10th. I would say 5th to 9th grade in the second camp. And some of them are going to actually be in the Puerto Rican parade with us this year, which is going to be cool.
That's super cute.
They've been doing a lot of different activities. They've been real receptive to what we're saying as far as safety, understanding what it is to be a firefighter,
right?
How to keep themselves safe, how to keep their families safe. Hopefully, we're planting seeds that in the future, I would love to hear that somebody somehow saved their family member from something that we taught them. And it's me and another firefighter, Lewis, that's part of it. And shout out to Lewis, who's another great person. And we're moving forward to hopefully have other programs like this within Cleveland,
right?
And keep spreading like that. Like,
ooh,
I would love to have a different person from our program represent a school that they actually went to.
Right.
So you got the John Marshalls, the Lincoln West, the Collinwood, Glenville. Like, I want somebody that's part of my program to teach at their old school, get paid for it, plant those seeds, and you know, do something different from what we're doing out here.
Come on,
you know,
yes.
And it helps with what we're doing with public safety from within the police and fire departments. So
come on, that's an excellent point, because I think too, the stuff that you teach, like you said, that is the point. It is transferable skills. I didn't even think about that. That's right. Like, well, first of all, I seen the little clips of the boot camp, so like I was like, oh, I would even have to get prepared. I don't know about that, y'all. That pushes. You push them. That's good though. But I agree that it's like these are just skills that they can use. Period. Yes, on the job, but just in general, like to be able to help. Because you teaching them like survival skills.
Survival skills.
Yeah.
Hopefully, get them to understand that they can do this. Like,
we had
little girls in the 5th grade flipping these tires.
Okay, y'all.
Helping drag dummies that are, you know, quadruple their weight.
Oh my gosh.
Like
okay. Yep. Show me up, y'all. Dang. Okay.
Definitely.
I'm gonna get in there, y'all.
Especially in language barriers. Like, you know, hey, if you learn more and more English, which these exams are English based.
Right.
Like, you know, you can work towards something. You know, it's not something that's out of your reach. It's actually, you know, and I like to bring other firefighters. Hopefully in the future they can see other firefighters that aren't typical, you know, cookie cutter firefighter. You know, I have one young lady, hopefully she'll be a firefighter within a year or so, but she weighs a buck 10 wet.
Oh wow.
Like, she's very slim, but she could carry a dummy that's 200 pounds roughly.
Come on.
Yeah. So
Wow.
yeah, it's something that it's amazing to see as long as we keep training people and helping them understand the techniques and stuff like that.
Come
So,
on.
yeah.
I agree. But I do think that's dope because I'm literally thinking when I was a kid, like everything I seen with a firefighter, it was a white guy.
Yeah.
I didn't see no, I
Yeah.
didn't see a woman.
Well,
like,
I had to learn the history years later, you know, why is the police and fire department predominantly like white or Caucasian, whatever.
right.
And over the years, and it's a great history actually. You ever seen the Gangs of New York? The
Yeah.
movie? Yeah,
Oh, no.
DiCaprio.
I didn't actually see the
That's
movie.
a great movie.
Okay.
So
I gotta
I
see
don't know
that.
how closely related it is to
Right.
the real story, but I know when the Irish came, which fire departments are mostly Irish for the most
Right.
part. When the Irish came, they were seen as the lowest of people according to the people that are already here or whatever.
Right.
And below the factory jobs were police and fire jobs.
Okay.
So they took the lowest jobs, which were police and fire, and raised it up through the unions to be something strong and something they could be proud of.
Right.
So that's why you have bagpipes at funerals and services and stuff like that, because it's something that's been passed on for generations within
there
there.
we go.
Yeah.
See?
So it's pretty cool, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
And they had their own struggles in Ireland too.
That's true.
So it's pretty cool to see that, understand history.
Right.
Then, okay, what can we do to help change and do things and all work together? So
That part. And I mean, but that's also, and of course that makes me think about like how race is interesting
Yeah.
because, it is a thing that we made up, y'all. We made that up and we have decided, what I'm saying, who gets the privilege and who doesn't.
Right.
And then that's the thing too, like what used to be, like now those are considered like white, just white children. I mean, white people in general, like Irish. But back in the day, they were facing discrimination.
Right.
Like now they're able to be part of this and exercise certain privileges, but not too long ago, they were also facing their own discrimination. You know what I mean?
Even
So-
within their groups, they
Right.
discriminate against themselves. And us from the outside looking in, we don't know that because we're not in those circles.
Right.
But, some people would discriminate against Slovenians or Polish or this, that, and other. We don't really know that. You know, we just know what we're feeling,
Yes.
what we're getting hit with.
Yep.
And years later, I've come to find out, I'm like, wow, like in different ways, not as extreme as I feel as we are, but I see why some people feel like they feel.
Yeah.
Pretty much. And
Yeah,
I
I
try
gotta
to understand
see where they're
all
coming
different
from.
angles of everything because
Yep.
I don't want to shut myself off from learning,
Yes. Yeah.
but I try to keep an open mind about, why are things the way they are. And,
Right.
and I have to change my perspective because I only know what I know.
Yeah.
And if you could teach me something cool,
Exactly.
then I'm open to learn it. So
And that's what I'm saying. We got to remember to still be teachable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That we don't have all those answers, and it is helpful to like challenge our perspectives. I also think it was commendable though that speaking of like discrimination and all that, as somebody who faced brutality, you could have stayed mad and just angry. You
man.
could have.
I channel that energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, and that's dope that you did.
I've had I got hit by a police car at the Puerto Rican parade.
Oh man.
6 months on the job as a firefighter.
What?
Police car hit me in the back of the leg. The guy arrested me. I was walking on the sidewalk, wasn't doing anything. That's another story that I'm gonna save that for the future.
Yep.
I've had times where I used to live off of Lake Avenue over by Edgewater, dribbling a basketball in the neighborhood. A police car pulls up on me, was trying to grab me, saying, "We think you're a suspect in something that just happened."
Like what?
So before I went into I volunteered. I'm like, before I go in a police car, I'm gonna let you know. I work for public safety as well. They were like, "Shh."
Yeah, exactly. We messed up.
we got
Picked the wrong one.
I'm I go with you though.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with you because I have to show them. I'm like, dude,
Yeah,
I could
I'm
be
cooperative, yeah.
I'm cooperative. I could be ignorant, but I choose to be a certain way.
Yeah.
It's hard to.
Right.
It takes a lot of
man.
holding back, biting my tongue.
Yes.
My tongue fell off a bunch of times.
Right.
It must be like a starfish. It keeps growing back. But I've had a lot of different incidents, and instead of just being angry at them, which wasn't doing anything for me,
Yes.
I realized, one, I could be a part of the change because I've been part of these meetings since my dad used to recruit for police back when he was a Hispanic liaison
Right.
for the city back when Voinovich or White was the mayor.
Right.
So I could use the stuff that I learned, channel that instead of being negative, be positive. I could also, instead of being upset at everything, just learn why they're put in a position that's not a winnable position.
Yeah.
So I feel like in public safety, we're just out there, and this is something that I've talked to my girlfriend a bunch of times.
Yep.
We're out there placing Band-Aids on social issues.
Mhm.
So I'm not really upset at police for being stressed out and everything like that. I just want them to understand, police and fire and the EMS, all to understand what they're signing up for.
Gotcha.
And understand the people that they're actually serving in the community.
Yep.
If they go in with that mindset, it'll help them in their career overall.
Hello.
And then if they're the right people, then cool. If they're not, they probably shouldn't be in there, because there's other careers out there that they could be doing. So.
Exactly.
And if they want to be in a community where they don't understand the people, maybe they should go somewhere where they do understand the people. So
I mean, I hope y'all wrote that down. I mean, because I agree.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I feel you on that. But I do think that there definitely was a period of time where when I started learning about all these issues, I was pissed.
Yeah.
I mean, all I remember being was mad.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just so upset. Like, I want to burn everything down.
Right.
So like, I
feel
mean,
you.
it just takes you to that place. But I just love hearing how you said that. Like, you can channel that though.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
You
take
definitely
that and
can.
use that productively.
Yeah. And that's part of the reason, like when I was part of recruitment, we had to be filtered.
Yeah.
You're representing the department, which I love the department. Love everything it stands for. But I want to speak my mind.
Correct.
And like when I talk to somebody that grew up in my neighborhood,
Hello.
I don't want to tell them the standard.
Yes.
You know, it's great to be a firefighter because of this, and this, you know.
Yep.
I want to tell them, hey, these are the pros, these are the cons. Yes, you can
this the
die.
real.
You can help the community. There are negative parts. There are positive parts. It's what you make of it.
True.
But here's the real.
Yes.
And certain things you can't do when you're representing your department.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, what can I do that can change that? So that's what I did.
There you go. And it is something, and that's something good to know, because as somebody who also holds a contract with a national organization, same. Like, that's why the LLC is helpful, because I've learned that, even if you work for a place that has told you that you cannot take on a contract while you're there, that's the loophole around it. If you open up the LLC, that like gives you that independence to be able to do that. That's something I learned, y'all. And I wish I would have known that a little bit sooner for taxes purposes. But it's fine. You know what I'm saying? We're figuring it out.
Still got time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, you know, we gonna make this work and do that. But that's definitely a good thing. So, yeah, man. So you definitely shared, like I said, tons of great things and all these. But if people wanted to be able to like connect with you and, you know what I mean, learn more, tap into NCN Prep, whatever, how can they find you?
So they can find me on NCN Prep, which is on Instagram and on Facebook. They can email me info@NTN Prep, and pretty much those are the main ways that I like to communicate with people.
Okay, cool. So y'all better use one of those, please.
Yeah, please.
But definitely tap in, because I love, like I said, that everything you've shared, just like from, you know, being a parent. You know what I mean? So like, and as a, you know, as a father, like what that looks like, you know what I mean? As a partner, you know what I mean? As an activist and, you know, literally business owner, you know, all of that. So like, I just think like, y'all, if you heard any of that, and even if you do want to reach out, but like you were like, well, I actually kind of related to that parenting piece. Could you tell me a little bit more about that? Why not? You know what I'm saying? I don't think you'd be, you know, opposed to being able to do that. But like, as y'all heard, it is good to have that blueprint. And if you don't know how to do it or like how to figure it out, ask someone that knows, you know, that can at least give you those guiding principles, you know, to be able to do it.
Definitely. I know all the food spots as well.
There you go. Hit
And
them up.
all the family event outing spots.
There you go. Cool. So y'all need that too. Yeah. And shout out to the fact that, again, in Cleveland, we always have East Side and the West Side.
Right.
And so like, you've been on the West Side, done a lot over there, but now proud East Sider. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You over here on the East Side with me. You know, we back
I grew
on
up
the
on the East Side.
Yes.
Lived on the West for 20 years.
There you go.
Now I'm back on the East.
There you go. So there's, you know, there's greatness to all of it. But now
definitely.
we got all in between. So I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
I appreciate you.
Yes,
dope.
thank you. And thank y'all, of course, as always, for supporting, especially our Dib Dad series. We gonna have more of y'all though. We got plenty of stuff that we want to be able to bring you. And every other Friday, tune in. But again, support. And if you got any ideas or anything else you want to provide, please let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, sis.
Thank you.